But we're going to begin with the search for 2-year-old Caylee Anthony in Florida. It doesn't look like her mother, Casey, is getting out of jail anytime soon. We're going to talk to the little girl's grandmother in just a moment. But first, NBC's Ron Mott has an update on the case. Ron, good morning to you.
Hey, Meredith, good morning. Casey Anthony is starting to rack up losses in the court of law and in the court of public opinion, while it seems no one is any closer to finding little Caylee. The setbacks are piling up for 22-year-old Casey Anthony, whose request to lower her $500,000 bond was denied Wednesday by a Florida appeals panel. Unfazed, her attorney says the battle to bail her out will continue.
I know a lot of people have seen a lot that's happened over the last few days, but I still got plenty of fight in me.
I know I'm going to find Caylee, but I can't do this by myself.
Anthony's parents, Cindy and George, again visited their daughter in jail, followed by a mob of TV cameras.
The pieces of the puzzles are starting to fall together, I believe. Remember I said that jigsaw puzzle's coming together.
A short time later, they emerged from the video conference.
And you want to reach out and touch them and give them a hug and make her feel the love that we have, you know. We love our daughter unconditionally, and we want our granddaughter back.
But authorities have expressed some doubts about that resolution, saying Casey Anthony's account of what happened to Caylee has led them nowhere.
We'll talk to her. We just hope that eventually she has an epiphany and does start to tell the truth.
And then there are these pictures showing Anthony out on the town, purportedly just days after she claims her daughter went missing. Officials are awaiting results of forensic tests on Anthony's car, in which they say cadaver dogs detected the smell of human decomposition. Still, Casey Anthony's family supports her contention a babysitter kidnapped the toddler, whom they believe is alive and well.
I think I have a good understanding of what's going on.
Casey Anthony's attorneys now say they may try to get her bond reduced through the federal courts on grounds that her civil rights are being violated, Matt.
All right, Ron Mott, thank you very much. Ron was in Orlando, Florida. Cindy Anthony is Casey's mother and Caylee's grandmother. Jose Baez is the family's attorney. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Cindy, I just heard you say in that piece that the pieces of the puzzle are starting to come together. You also said you have a good idea of what's going on with Caylee's disappearance. I need you to explain that to me.
Unfortunately, I can't. I've spoken to authorities with that, and that is in their hands.
But you came out of this meeting with your daughter. You must know something today or have learned something today that you didn't know a couple of weeks ago, and yet you can't share any of that, especially if it might lead authorities to finding this little girl?
Especially for that, because Caylee's out there, and I am not going to jeopardize her safe return home.
You have said that your daughter's being tried in the court of public opinion for something she hasn't even been charged with yet. But how do you account for the inconsistencies, the things that she has told authorities that have turned out not to be true? Why would an innocent mom who's looking desperately for her daughter tell things to the authorities that aren't true?
Again, the authorities have all that information. They'll release that when Caylee's safely home.
Let me go to these photos that have surfaced recently, Cindy, and I'll put them up on the screen here. And reportedly, these were taken of your daughter in a bar just a couple of days after Caylee's disappearance. Now, you're a mom. If your daughter were missing, do you think you could bring yourself to pose for pictures like these just a couple of days after you realized she was gone?
Unfortunately, I can't see the pictures that you're referring to. I'm in a studio in Orlando.
But have you seen the photos?
I have no knowledge of any of these pictures, so I can't comment on something that I can't see and verify.
I appreciate that. Mr. Baez, have you seen these photos?
Yes, I have.
All right, so you know what they look like. They're of Casey smiling.
They're a 22-year-old out in a nightclub. That's all they appear to be to me. They haven't been authenticated in any way. I don't know exactly when they were taken. I've heard of an estimate as to when they were taken, but no one's gotten up and testified, look, I took this photo on this date, and here's what I have to verify that. If it turns out that these photographs were taken at a later date or an earlier date, I should say, you won't even hear about this in the news, but you're hearing about it now, and that's the problem we have.
Is Casey cooperating in this investigation with authorities? Because there have been reports, and correct me if they're wrong, that she is being silent with authorities.
No, not at all. I have made it clear to law enforcement that I am going to put her in the position and allow her to answer any questions as to leads that might find Caylee. As far as allowing them to go ahead and try and prosecute her, that's something I'm not going to allow to do.
You've been turned down in your request to have her bond lowered from $500,000. At a hearing, Judge John Jordan said the following, and I'm quoting this to Casey: "You left your 2-year-old child with a person who does not exist in an apartment you cannot identify, and you lied to your parents about your child's whereabouts. You care so little about your child." That's an end quote to that. Now, that seems to leave you in a tough legal position. Where do you go from here?
Yes, it is. Actually, it's a very tough legal position when the court, at an initial appearance within 24 hours of someone being arrested, would make that statement that's going to be broadcasted across the nation. So, yes, it's a very tough position. We're trying our best to fight for justice for Casey. And that's what we're going to keep doing. And I believe in the system. I believe it's going to work. Unfortunately, the court of public opinion is not the place where I want to try this case.
Well, things would go better in the court of public opinion if more positive things could come out. Cindy, any idea when you might be able to share some of this information you say you have?
Again, that's part of the investigation, and I'm not going to interfere with the investigation. I'm here today to remind the public that there's a missing child out there. And if the media can't get that, Casey's not on trial. There's a missing child out there, and she needs to be found, and we need your help to do that. So visit www.helpfindkaylee.com and do everything you can to bring Kaylee home to us.
Cindy Anthony and Jose Baez, thanks to both of you. I appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you so much.